There's something haunting about the way your presence lingers in my mind, an endless echo of unspoken desires and secret longings that I can't quite shake. Sometimes, in the stillness of the night, I find myself lost in thoughts of you, wondering if you can feel the same electric pull that tugs at my soul every time you're near. Every time I close my eyes, I can't help but imagine a life where our thoughts align and our hearts beat in sync, a reality that feels almost too perfect to be true. I've never known the kind of desire that keeps me awake at night, a longing that takes root in my chest and fills my mind with images of you I can't forget. What's strange is how effortlessly you've crept into my dreams, making them feel more real than the world around me, and how little I seem to mind. I never expected to feel this way about someone, caught between the lines of fantasy and reality, unable to escape the captivating thoughts of you that linger far too long. You've become a constant in my thoughts, not just in my waking moments, but in the deep corners of my subconscious, where nothing feels as clear as the desire I have for you. It's strange how something so simple as a smile from you can create 1,000 fantasies in my mind, each one more vivid than the last, each one impossible to forget. There's an intoxicating mystery in the way you make me feel, something that draws me closer to you with every passing moment, every thought of you pulling me further in. My mind constantly returns to you, as if drawn by an invisible thread of longing that refuses to be ignored, always circling back to the same irresistible thoughts. I've found that every fantasy I've had about you feels like an escape, a way to touch something intangible and yet so deeply real, it almost burns with intensity. It's funny how a single thought of you can set my heart racing, turning a simple moment into something thrilling, something I can't quite explain but can't stop feeling. In the quiet of my mind, where no one else dares to tread, I confess that I think of you in ways that are both tender and intense, as if you've captured a piece of my soul. I never thought I'd allow myself to indulge in thoughts like these, but every glance from you seems to unlock a door to fantasies I never imagined would hold me captive. You've become an obsession in the most beautiful way, lingering in the back of my mind, in the spaces between my breaths, as though you've taken root in every part of me. The more I try to forget, the more I realize that the fantasy of you has woven itself into the fabric of my thoughts. And perhaps I've always wanted it this way. There's something uniquely captivating about the way you invade my thoughts, not with force, but with a subtlety that leaves me questioning the depth of the attraction. Your presence lingers in my mind in ways I never expected, transforming even the most ordinary moments into something extraordinary, something charged with longing and desire. I've come to realize that my fantasies about you aren't just daydreams. They're a reflection of something deeper, a yearning I can't quite explain but can't ignore either. In the quiet spaces between the world's noise, I find myself wishing for a reality where the thoughts of you are more than just fleeting moments, but instead something lasting. I've never understood how easily my mind drifts to thoughts of you, how effortlessly your image consumes me until nothing else matters but the desire to feel closer to you. There's something deeply alluring about the way you make me feel, as if every thought of you is a confession, a desire to let go and explore a world I never knew existed. Even when you're not around, I can feel your presence in the way my thoughts linger on you, in the way my heart skips a beat every time I imagine what it would be like to be near you. I never knew it was possible for someone to become such a constant in my mind, to occupy my thoughts with such intensity. But here you are, an undeniable force in my every fantasy. You've become the subject of my most intimate thoughts, a presence that's not just in my dreams, but in my waking moments, as though you've claimed a space in the very core of me. There's a vulnerability in the way I find myself thinking about you, a surrender to something that feels both dangerous and beautiful, an irresistible pull I can't resist. I can't help but imagine a world where you and I are not just fleeting thoughts, but a tangible reality, where every whispered word and shared glance leads to something more. I never expected to be caught in such a whirlwind of desire, but here I am, lost in thoughts of you that stir something deep within me, something I can't quite put into words. It's amazing how you've found a way into my thoughts, weaving your way through the cracks of my mind, until you've become a constant part of my every waking moment. I think about you more than I care to admit, and in doing so, I find myself caught between the world of fantasy and reality, longing for a connection that feels both inevitable and impossible. There's an undeniable chemistry that exists between us, one that only grows stronger with every passing day, as though my mind and body have begun to crave the idea of you. It's almost like you've placed a spell on me, one that turns every thought of you into something that I can't escape, something that lingers long after I've tried to forget. I never imagined how deeply someone could infiltrate my thoughts, how easily you've found a place in my mind where every fantasy revolves around you and everything you represent. What I find most captivating about you isn't just the way you look, but the way you make me feel, as if every glance, every word stirs something inside me that I can't quite understand. I've always been one to guard my thoughts, but somehow you've made me feel safe enough to surrender, to let go of the barriers and allow my fantasies to run wild. You've become the muse of my most passionate thoughts, the inspiration behind every fantasy I can't help but dream, each one feeling more real than the last. I never expected to fall into a pattern of thought so deep, so consuming, that it would blur the line between fantasy and reality. But here I am, completely captivated by you. It's not just the way you look at me, it's the way you make me feel that fills my mind with fantasies I never thought I'd entertain, pulling me into a world I can't resist. You've taken over my thoughts in ways that are both thrilling and terrifying, leaving me with a sense of longing that feels almost unbearable at times. I can't help but wonder if you think of me the way I think of you, if your mind drifts to the same fantasies, the same desires that have found a home in my heart. It's strange how easily you've become a part of my world, a constant presence in my thoughts, and how I can't seem to shake the pull you have on me, even when I try. You've found a way into my deepest thoughts, into the very core of my desires, leaving me to question how it's possible for someone to stir up feelings I didn't know I had. I've realized that every time I think of you, it's not just a passing thought, but a longing, a yearning for something more, something that my heart can't seem to let go of. There's an energy that surrounds you, something electric and magnetic that keeps me coming back to thoughts of you, even when I try to push them away. I can't explain the way you've captivated me, the way you've found your way into my mind, leaving me lost in thoughts that both thrill and haunt me in equal measure. You've become the source of my most intimate dreams, a presence that both comforts and excites me, leaving me yearning for more of you with every passing moment. I never expected to be this consumed by someone, but with every thought, every glance, I find myself falling deeper into the fantasy of what could be between us. There's something incredibly alluring about the way you seem to understand me without saying a word, and it makes me want to dive even deeper into the world of thoughts we share. I often wonder if you feel the same pull, the same magnetic attraction that draws me to you with every glance, every word you speak. You've made my thoughts more vivid than they've ever been, turning even the most mundane moments into something exciting, something worth exploring. I think about you in ways I can't explain, ways that go beyond the surface, deeper into something more real and intense than I ever thought possible. You've managed to make me rethink everything I thought I knew about desire, turning my thoughts into a swirling mix of longing and anticipation that I can't escape. The more I think about you, the more I realize how much you've come to mean to me, even in the quiet spaces of my mind where no one else can see. I've never felt such an intense connection, one that pulls me into thoughts of you even when I try to resist, making me question the depth of the desire you've awakened in me. Every time I see you, I can feel my heart race. My thoughts begin to spiral into fantasies of what it would be like to truly be with you, to explore everything I've imagined. You've become the center of my thoughts, a constant presence in my mind that refuses to be ignored, leaving me to wonder just how much of you I've really allowed myself to imagine. Your smile lingers in my mind long after you've gone, leaving behind a trail of thoughts that stir something deep inside me, something I can't seem to shake.